Do you believe in unicorns and Santa Claus? Well, good, you shouldn't, because they aren't real. Well, maybe not the Santa part. So, why would we ask you guys what you do and don't believe in? Well, that's because today we are going to make the same argument for why ELO hell isn't real. What is up, ProGuides family? It's your host, Sergeant Frost, and today we are going to talk about why ELO hell isn't real and mistakes you should avoid so that you don't get stuck in your own ELO. Let's not waste any more time, let's hop right into it. So, to start off this video, there is this theory that ELO hell is non-existent. However, people fail to understand that ELO hell does exist, but not because of losing streaks, smurfs, or other pathetic excuses and complaints. It exists because of the limited amount of rating points rewarded for matches under Immortal ELO. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. Losing more ELO per loss compared to gaining little ELO per win is beyond infuriating. And it creates a real paradox where if you can't create an extensive winning streak, you will never climb out of your rank no matter how much you improve. And that leads us to the root of the real problem. Why does it seem like ELO hell exists in lower ranks but not the higher ones? It takes a lot longer to climb out of these lower ranks compared to the higher ones. In fact, you need to win a lot more games to climb from Iron to Diamond compared to if you were climbing from Diamond to High Immortal. And this is the real reason why ELO hell does exist, but not in the form that you think it does. Climbing the ladder will always take so much longer in lower ELOs. Also, don't forget that the teammate RNG in lower ELOs will be much worse compared to higher ELOs. And that's because there's simply a lot more players below Diamond than there is above it. The fact of the matter is, even with outstanding personal performances, you will still climb more slowly at lower ELOs compared to higher ones. Okay, let me come out and say ELO hell does exist, but not for the reasons that people complain it does. Simply put, you will be able to climb if you put the time in. But trust me, it's going to be a struggle and you have to feel that it's worth it to suffer through the trials and tribulations of climbing the ladder. Having played in ELOs as low as Plat and as high as Immortal, I can confirm that it is much easier to win a game convincingly in Immortal than it ever will be in Platinum rank and below. Some players you run into will simply be so bad that they might as well have a controller plugged in and their triggers don't work. With that being said, let's get into some of the reasons why you think you're stuck in ELO hell because of bad teammates, but in reality, a lot of your game losses occur because of mistakes that you personally make. This is a list of in-game crimes that people commit that keep them in their own personal ELO hell. One of the biggest things you will see players not only do in low ELO but in higher ELOs too, is constantly complain endlessly about their teammates. If you are a perpetrator of this crime, you are only tilting your team further into oblivion, and it does nothing constructive to help your team. I understand being frustrated when a teammate does something stupid and dies, or when there's miscommunication and you lose the round because of it, but non-stop wailing into your mic the entire game will do nothing but create bad vibes on your team. And it will create tension and resentment between all of your teammates the entire game. Trust me, if you stop doing this, the quality of your games and performance of your teammates will increase tenfold. Another crime committed in low ELO is when you constantly hold an angle from your spawn the entire game in fear of taking an actual gunfight with people. The amount of times I've seen players hold useless angles either in their spawn or just in the middle map is astounding. These people don't have any confidence in their aim, and they think that holding a passive angle away from the action is going to win them games. Being passive the entire round gives the enemy team way too much room to take map control and bully your teammates inside of sight. I can promise you that if you get rid of your fear of dying and start being more proactive during rounds, you will climb ranks significantly faster than before. Climbing the rank ladder can be a tall task in and of itself, and I personally recommend checking out our website ProGuides.com to help aid you in your climb to Radiant rank. We have courses written by pro players that can help you get rid of your bad habits, and we have coaches online 24/7 who can teach you the proper skills needed to leave your own personal ELO hell. Moving on, one of the worst crimes I've seen players commit is constantly running out first into sight and dying. Players need to understand that there's a big difference between entry fragging and running out aimlessly and dying instantly. Entry fragging is getting your team to support you as you run into sight to clear the initial angles and hiding spots. This also means getting your team to use their utility and abilities to give yourself a better chance of survival as you run into sight. This concept is completely different than running into sight without the help of your team with no utility to help you break into sight. Doing this over and over and over again in game is only feeding the enemy team ult points, and it will lose you more games than you win. This toxic mindset works for defense as well. There is absolutely no reason to get randomly aggressive on defense and leave your sight. The odds of you dying to a player that you didn't expect to be standing there is a lot higher than you would like to believe. Moving on, this next crime is one of my personal pet peeves in game, and that's when a player watches their team do all the work and they contribute nothing. This player will stay at the back of the stack when breaking open a bomb site to let their teammates get killed, and then they proceed to get useless, non-impactful frags the rest of the game and become a burden for their team. This player is also afraid of dying, so they constantly bait their teammates to get easy, useless kills. And don't forget, they always manage to find themselves last alive because they never take the initiative in getting map control. They just sit around and let their teammates win the game for them. This is a problem that happens in every single low elo game, and it's mostly committed by the players that are new to the game and don't really know any better. This next crime personally grinds my gears, and that's when a team collectively throws around that they have won. This fallacy has many different looks in game. It can look like having a 5-2 man advantage when attacking, only to relax team cohesion and let the enemy team get picks until it's a 2v2. It also looks like a defensive team getting picks early, so they get unnecessarily aggressive and start pushing the enemy only to get picked off one by one. But wait, it gets better. It also looks like when an attacking team is trying to clutch and post plant, and players will peek the bomb for absolutely no reason after the defender taps the defuse only once and they proceed to get awped in the face. My point is, too many players start to relax and break their focus when they feel that they have the round won. This is one of the biggest mistakes that keeps players in their personal ELO hell, because relaxing gives the enemy team a free opportunity to climb back into the game. This next crime is actually something that I see a lot more in high ELO than in low ELO, but it still happens way too much for my liking. And that is, players that constantly lurk around the map or play away from their team. Don't get me wrong, a good player that constantly lurks can be a great thing for a team, because getting free picks can give you map control that is needed to win a round. But in this instance, I'm talking about the bad players who are know-it-alls that think that lurking around the map, shift-walking everywhere like Shroud, is going to magically get them aces and win the game. Let me break some news to you by saying that the maps in Valorant are not as hard lurk friendly as the maps in CSGO. You also have to remember that this game has the likes of Killjoy, Cypher, Sage, and Astra. These agents have abilities in their kit that are specifically designed to deal with lurkers and prevent them from getting free map control. Since these agents exist in Valorant but not in CSGO, playing a permanent hard lurker role does not work in this game like it would in CSGO or Rainbow Six. So, this is me saying to you that taking bad habits from other competitive FPS games like Rainbow Six, CSGO, or Call of Duty Search and Destroy can be detrimental to your team in the long run. Like I said before, a well-executed lurk that your teammates support can do wonders for winning a round. But constantly not playing with your team, only to be a player that can't aim and constantly gets killed on the lurk, will do nothing but infuriate your team and lose you games faster than you can say Cypher tripwires. We have to get to our question of the day. Today's question is, what rank do you think is your own personal ELO hell? Let me tell you personally, I think that Platinum is the hardest ELO to climb out of consistently. Sometimes the best thing you can do when you're in an ELO where players think they are a lot better than they actually are is to 5-stack games with friends and work on winning games as a unit. Remember, you can always improve yourself all you want, but you can't choose your teammates when you solo queue. So let us know what your answer is in the comment section down below. Moving on, one of the biggest crimes that I see players make in game is giving up on eco and half-buy rounds. This is a bad mentality mistake that will lose you rounds that you could potentially win. The problem is, on eco rounds, you need to come up with a plan with your team that you can all execute and give yourself the best chance of winning the round. No matter how disadvantaged your team can be economy or gun-wise, there's always an opportunity to win an eco round as long as you have a plan and you play together. Don't just give up the moment someone gets picked or when you lose map control to enemies that have guns. This next crime is a lack of awareness when it comes to managing economy, and it usually does a lot more harm than good. And that's when players always buy without their team or when they make dumb purchases that won't help you win the round. Having no awareness as to what your team is buying is unacceptable because Valorant has a nice advanced UI that shows exactly what state your economy is in and how much money you will have in the future. It's not okay to keep buying rifle after rifle when your team is trying to save and build up their economy. Also, making stupid purchases when it comes to buying expensive guns for no reason is a big killer of your economy. I don't care if you think you're the best jet that ever lived, there's no reason to hard save for 3 rounds just to buy an AWP early on in the game. This also goes for those players who think it's cool to constantly buy Odins on defense no matter what state their economy is in. The Odin is the second most expensive gun in the game. If you're not getting kills with it, stop buying it over and over again and ruining your own economy. This next crime is once again something that I see a lot more in higher ELOs than lower ELOs, but it is still a problem that holds a lot of players back from improving. And that is when players top frag in a game, but all their kills are useless, non-impactful frags. These players will drop 30+ kill games, but still lose a game by more than 3 rounds. This common phenomenon happens when a very skilled player plays the round for his own life and not to win the round outright. These players will always bait their teammates and hold passive angles constantly. This technique might net them a lot of kills in game, but in the process they won't help out their team and the enemy team will end up winning the round because of it. Trust me, you have all seen this player in your game before. A lot of times, these criminals will insta-lock a duelist and at first they won't be terrible and they will actually frag out. But if you break down a replay of their game where they lost, they constantly toss their teammates to the wolves and play to keep themselves alive and get as many kills as possible. These types of players need to realize that this game is not Call of Duty. You need to explode or defuse a bomb to win rounds. Constantly playing for kills like it's team deathmatch can win you some rounds, but you will lose the game in the long run once the enemy team catches on to what you're doing. I beg you, don't be a player that throws your teammates under the bus. A team that might not be fragging out, but instead are playing as a cohesive 5-man unit, will always 100% beat a team of all aim, no brain duelists. Well everyone, that's all we have for why ELO Hell doesn't really exist. If you liked the video, then be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing if you enjoyed the content. We upload new videos just like this one every single day, and the best way to stay notified of that is by ringing that notification bell. Don't forget to check out our website to gain some access to some truly amazing coaching. This has been Sergeant Frost, and remember, stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very soon.